See him December 21, 1974, the way it was. Oakland has just kicked off to Miami. 89, Nat Moore swinging to his left. Down the left sideline, he's got open space. The speedster, the fastest man by far on the Miami team, goes untouched. 89 yards, touchdown. Quickly, Miami leads by a score of 7-0. But Oakland, a powerhouse, high-scoring team with the pinpoint precision passing of Kenny Stabler, strikes back in the second quarter. Stabler to Charlie Smith. The score tied at 7-7. Moving ahead to the third quarter. And with Miami leading 10-7, Stabler strikes again. In the corner to Biletnikoff, 25. Incredible catch. That made it 14-10 Oakland. But Bob Griese was not to be denied either. Throwing long to Paul Warfield. Touchdown. Extra point blocked. And so Miami led 16-14. Once again, Stabler going to work. His favorite target, Cliff Branch, the speedster out of Colorado, has it. Apparently down, untouched. Too late by Henry Stuckey, and Branch goes downfield. Touchdown, and so Oakland takes a 21-16 lead. The Dolphins worry. You see Fernandez's face. But the Dolphins, a tremendous football team, fighting back. And now, Benny Malone, number 32, will not be denied. He first passed one tackler and another, and still another goes in for the touchdown, and so Miami takes the lead again, 26-21. But Oakland, with Kenny Stabler hitting Biletnikoff, first for 18, then for 20 yards, famous for his 2-minute drill attack, brings the Raiders downfield, hits Frank Pitts, an incredible catch there, 5-yard gain. The clock says 35 seconds. A frantically worried John Shula. Now, almost the last play of the game, going down, Stabler waffles the ball in the air. Somehow, Clarence Davis, 28, catches it. The Oakland Raiders win 28-26. They go at it again today.
Of Miami, Florida, on a warm, humid night, where two of the NFL's finest, the Oakland Raiders and Miami Dolphins, kick off their 1975 season in the Orange Bowl. And ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is brought to you by Ford Motor Company, who invites you to see all their 1976 cars at your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers on October 3rd.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Howard Cosell. Welcome to the official start of NFL Monday Night Football right here on ABC, and we think we've got a terrific opener for you. If it's anything like that classic playoff game of last December, the highlights of which you saw at the top of the telecast, then our hopes will certainly be fulfilled. But in the meantime, a quick look at the two coaches. Don Shula, Miami, widely regarded as the finest coach in the National Football League, and why not? Look at the record. But this year, what a challenge for form. The loss of Zonka, Kick, and Warfield. Then the loss by way of injuries for the season of the likes of Nick Bonacani and Dick Anderson. And the loss tonight of Manny Fernandez and Bob Hines. And everybody somehow expecting Shula to maintain the excellence of the past, which included consecutive Super Bowl victories. Well, that's Shula on the one side. The coaching opponent, John Madden, on the other. Slimmed down by a mere 40 pounds. Perhaps the most unheralded coach in the league, widely characterized as a mere puppet for, in effect, the general manager and part owner, Al Davis. But in truth, nothing of the sort. A determined leader who should get credit when the team wins and who should be criticized if he deserves it when the team loses. Thus, the two coaches. Now, for some further analysis, let's bring in the Gift, Frank Gifford, and let him talk about Miami on the offense.
Well, Howard, we mentioned some of the injuries that possibly will hurt the Miami Dolphins. They have some mighty fine football players, too. They're coming off their best preseason ever, at least in terms of rushing. Now, that seems odd because Larry Zonka is gone. But Norm Boulash, Don Nottingham, Mercury Morris, Benny Malone, they picked up the slack. But even though they're talking like they can run the football, you still get the feeling that quarterback Bob Griese is going to have his best year, and he's going to have to throw the ball for Miami to once again win this division.
Well, that means it's time for Spanky Karras. Spanky, how would you defend Bob Griese?
Well, Univac, I think he summed it up. They've been running the ball in the preseason because they know that they have to run the ball in order to maintain that kind of offense that they've had with Zonka. As far as the league opener is concerned, I don't know. I don't know if they can run against Oakland. Oakland knows that. They're not scared of Zonka in the middle, so I think they'll loosen up, and they're going to think that Griese's going to throw the ball more. I think Griese's going to have to throw the ball more, Frank.
Now, what about Oakland and Kenny Stabler?
Howard, in my estimation, Kenny Stabler, well, if he isn't the best quarterback in football, he's certainly approaching it. They say you have to spend 5 years to be the top quarterback. He's really only been a starter for 2 years, and he is super. He has some great receivers. We saw them in the highlights of the playoff game, Branch and Bolitnikoff. Stabler, if you give him a little time, he will just burn the daylights out of you. He is something else.
All right, Spanky, how do you defend Kenny Stabler?
Well, how do you defend an Oakland offensive football team that's terrific? I don't know. Miami's playing with injuries. I think they'll go to a blitzing defense. That usually kind of compensates for a lack of defensive personnel, and I think they'll go strictly to a blitzing game tonight. We saw it in the preseason game where they were rushing their safeties and the little guys scatting through the line, so they may go into a real blitzing situation.
Thank you, gentlemen. Coming up, Oakland against Miami in the Orange Bowl. We'll be back in just a minute.
Over Miami. A brilliant moon shining here in Miami. We have had scattered showers as it shines down on a jam-packed Orange Bowl, where tonight the Miami Dolphins kicked their 1975 season off against the Oakland Raiders. And there it is. It was not sold out on Friday. However, it is tonight. 80,000 people on hand to watch these two teams who last met last December when they were in the AFC playoff together, won by Oakland in the final 26 seconds. And, Howard, we talked about that game, but there are still many who say it was one of the finest ever.
It had been billboarded, as you know, Frank, as the real Super Bowl game. It didn't turn out that way. The only one who reckoned with Pittsburgh was you, since you picked the Steelers all the way to win it all. But certainly it was one of the finest games within memory in the National Football League. And if we can have anything like that tonight, as I said earlier, we'll be in good shape for our opener.
Dropping deep, Freddie Solomon, number 86 for Miami, back there along with Mercury Morris. Kicking off for Oakland is Ray Guy, and we're underway in the Orange Bowl. It will be Mercury Morris who lets it bounce, and it bounds out of bounds. Going out of bounds. It will go back and will be kicked once again from the 30-yard line. Don Shula, an incredible record here at Miami. As Howard mentioned at the top of the show, he is going to have a tremendous job for him. He's lost a lot of players other than Zonka, Kick, and Warfield. Nick Bonacani is not there anymore. Manny Fernandez, the great safety man, Dick Anderson, out for the season. Bob Hines is out. There's John Madden. He, too, has injury problems.
Yeah, but he's slimmed down an awful lot. I don't think he's worried about his injuries. He's worried about his waistline.
I don't think he's going to get your clothing award this year, Alex.
No, he's still
looking pretty dapper, yeah. John Madden. Great record.
He looks bad in expensive clothes, that guy does.
And a much more brilliant coach than you might suspect. He has done a great job with the Raiders, along with managing general partner Al Davis.
That's true, and a very engaging guy with a great sense of humor. All right, Giff, we're about ready to go now.
You're looking at Mercury Morris. A couple of years ago, he was definitely the deep threat for the Miami Dolphins. He's coming off a bad year. And Ray Guy rips one again. This time he puts it through the end zone. It'll be a touchback, a big kick by Ray Guy. So the Miami Dolphins will begin operation from their own 20-yard line. They will have at quarterback Bob Griese. Bob Griese, who has taken the Dolphins to the playoffs for 5 straight years. He's in there with the setbacks Mercury Morris, number 22, and Don Nottingham, number 36. The wide receivers, Nat Moore, he's the deep threat, number 89. and Howard Twilley. Howard Twilley has caught one pass in preseason. Hampered by injuries, Jim Mandich is the tight end. He is the big threat, as I see it, for the Dolphins tonight. The offensive line, a veteran one, anchored by Jim Langer at center. The first play from scrimmage. And this is Morris. Tipping to the outside, and he could, and just tripped up over the 35, going down at the 39, and had he been able to get around that corner, he was gone. He has great speed, a 19-yard pickup, first down. Mercury Morris only gained 214 yards last year after coming off big 1,000-yard years in 73 and 72. Hampered by injuries, problem at times because he felt he was mistreated a little bit. But he says he's ready to play. He had a great preseason with over 200 yards. First down again for Miami, now at the 39-yard line. Coming towards you, Howard Twilley. Morris again over the right side. Gets out for a couple of yards over the 40 to the 41-yard line.
Notice, fellas, a lot of the players are wearing sneakers because it's wet down there. Alex, what's that front four?
Well, that front four has been together a long time. It's Tony Klein, 84, and, of course, the University of Mars himself, Otis Sistrunk, number 60. Art Toms has been around for a long time, number 80. And Horace Jones, I think, is kind of one of the underrated ball players on that ball club, number 82. Watch him move.
Kelvin Corver's in there, too, Alex, and he, of course, is replacing Art Toms, the regular, at the right defensive tackle. And Griese again, now facing a second down and 8. Just underway from the Orange Bowl in Miami. Ball just over the 41, and getting the call is Nottingham. He fumbles. And battling for the ball and coming up with it is number 84, Tony Klein. And the Miami Dolphin was lying right alongside of the ball. He did not see it, and Oakland gets their first turnover, something that they major in during the course of the season.
You were talking about Kelvin Corver, the guy who just replaced Art Toms, who's got a pulled muscle. He just did a good job up front. He straightened the center up, and he caused that fumble, and no one could block him, and he was just really a big bull of strength in there.
All right, note as Oakland goes on the offense with great field position, the center will be number 50, Dave Dalby. The first time in the history of the Oakland Raiders, Jim Otto, now the business manager, will not be the Oakland center.
Quarterback Ken Stabler with setbacks, number 34. Harold Hart and Marv Hubbard, the big fullback, number 44. Hubbard gets the call. Finds a hole on the right side, makes a couple of more strictly on his own inside the 35 to the 36, a gain of 4. The wide receivers are Fred Bolitnikoff. He's number 25. What a deadly receiver he is. Over 450 receptions in his career. Cliff Branch, the great speedster on the left side, 60 receptions last year, 13 touchdowns. Bob Moore is the tight end, but he'll alternate a lot with Dave Casper, and there is the offensive line. Dave Dalby at center. Anchoring that line, as Howard mentioned, replacing Jim Otto, who has been there up until tonight, every game Oakland plays. Second down and 6. Stabler goes to Bolitnikoff, is complete. Bolitnikoff had what appeared to be the first down. He stepped back as Bob Matheson laid a hit on, and he could have lost the first.
Of course, the Dolphins front four has guys that have been hanging together for a long time. Vern Den Herter, who I can't pronounce his name, and if I could, I'd use him once in a while. Is number 83. Randy Crowder, number 74. Don Reese, 76. And of course, Phil Stanfill, who I think game in, game out, he's probably their best defensive lineman, number 84.
Don Shula on the sidelines. Into the lineup for the Oakland Raiders. Their second tight end on a third down, perhaps less than a yard. Ball resting just inside the 29 of Miami. Dave Casper's in there, number 87, along with Bob Moore. Stabler, the quarterback, coming off a great year. Hubbard gets the call, and Hubbard, the big fullback, 235 pounds of him, gets the first down.
He gets the first down, and Alex, you said those guys in the defensive line have been together a long time, which is usually true, but not tonight because of the absence of Fernandez and Hines. Instead, Don Reese and Randy Crowder, two young ones, are in there. They may actually better the Miami pass rush, but the defense against the rush is something else. Again, the Miami linebackers, veterans, Mike Colin moved to the middle, 57-59 Bill Swift.
The first and 10 for Oakland at the 26-yard line of Miami. Stabler dropping and looking. Gets a tremendous rush, steps away from the charge with number 74, Randy Crowder, but it was enough to force a 6-yard loss for Oakland. Kenny Stabler with a tremendous rush.
I had just mentioned that the two young ones might actually better the Miami pass rush, and there was an evidence. 74 Crowder getting in first, and John Griese, the #1 draft choice a year ago, finishing up the job. But again, their ability to defense the run will have to be seen against the powerhouse ground game of the Raiders tonight. Giff?
Second down. Second down and 16. The ball at the 32-yard line of Miami. Litnikoff branch goes to the left side, but the ball goes to Hubbard. And Miami is fired up as John Andrews is in there now, a rookie from Oregon State.
Well, he's had an interesting background, Gifford. Andrews played Canadian football. He played in the World Football League, came into Miami, a free agent. He had originally been drafted by Detroit, which gave up on him. Shula liked what he had, and he's going to get a lot of work tonight.
And he comes out now as the pass is anticipated by Miami. In comes Jarvis White. He's number 41. They'll go into their prevent defense. Third down and 14. The ball just over the 30-yard line. Stabler opens up his tight end. Firing, and it's complete to Cliff Branch. Cliff Branch, the little 5'11", 170-pounder out of Colorado, gives Oakland a clutch first down.
And, of course, that's a trademark of Kenny Stabler, as all NFL fans know. He's a pinpoint precisionist with the pass. He's a patient quarterback. He doesn't often go to the bomb, though his arm has become sufficiently strong for him to do it if he wants to. Oakland operates in the passing game primarily in a 15 to 17-yard range, which was the case just then.
Kenny Stabler, 57% average last year. He threw 26 touchdowns. He just completed a key third down pass to Branch for the first down. Now he hands off to Banaszak. Banaszak over the right side. Pete Banaszak, the veteran, 10 years out of the University of Miami.
Banaszak is still with the team because he's good on the special teams. He represents the problem presented by the 43 rather than 47-man roster. Number 23, Charlie Smith, no longer with the club, was a better runner, but wasn't strong enough to play on the special teams. Net result, Banaszak got a light. Same thing happened in the case of Morris Bradshaw, who's with the team, instead of Frank Pitt, because Bradshaw is good in the special teams. Yep.
On second down and 12. Stabler with the time. Gets it away to the big tight end, Bob Moore. Moore, very close to the first down. It'll be pinned where they mark the ball. A 12-yard pickup. And referee Jim Tunney tells us it's just short. 8:19 remaining in the first quarter from the Orange Bowl of Miami. No score. Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell and Spanky Alex Karras as we open our regular season with a beauty. Oakland and Miami, and what classics they've had. Short yardage. The two tight ends are in. Casper and Moore for Oakland. Hubbard, as you would suspect, gets the call, gets the first down. Down to the 2-yard line, leaping over the blocks of Dave Dalby, George Beeler, and Gene Upshaw.
Of course, you know, you're wondering about Mike Colin, who has to fill in for one of the greatest all-time middle linebackers. What's his name, Uvac?
Nick Bonacani.
And what number is he?
85. Not to be seen for the rest of the year because of the 43-man rule. He'd be ready to play in 3 weeks otherwise, but Shula had to fill the gap.
Credit Banaszak with that first down for Oakland. Hubbard is on the bench. We don't know why. We'll check it out. Banaszak hurdling into the end zone for the touchdown. Pete Banaszak, who did not play hardly at all in preseason, a mere 73 yards rushing, scores Oakland's first touchdown for 1975. Good offensive line in front of the Oakland Raiders. They protect well for Kenny Stabler. They block well for their running backs. Beeler and Upshaw, two excellent guards, along with Shell and Vela, two fine tackles. Now, George Blanda has just set a new NFL record. He's playing his 211th consecutive game, and he is attempting to kick his 1,920th point, which he does. The grand old man of the Oakland Raiders, 48 years old, puts the Raiders out in front with the conversion, 7-0. We'll be back. The Goodyear blimp, the Mayflower hovering over the Orange Bowl, a jam-packed Orange Bowl here in Miami, Florida. As you see, the Oakland Raiders used up 5 minutes and 2 seconds in their scoring drive. Ray Guy sets the kickoff. He'll kick deep to Freddie Solomon, 86, and Mercury Morris, 22. Guy hits the ball and bobbled by Solomon. Solomon picks it up at the 3. And Solomon goes down at the 13-yard line in the arms of Charles Phillips, the rookie from USC.
All right, let's have another look at that touchdown play. Stabler handing off and in for the score. No problem. They've been chewing up on the rush, the 2 young ones I talked about, Crowder and Reese. And they're going to have to block that hole to stem the ground game. Banaszak, the veteran whom we discussed earlier, going in for the score.
Ball just short of the 12-yard line. Miami takes over once again. Griese at quarterback. Morris 22, Nottingham 36 to setback. Twilly coming towards you in motion. Nottingham over the left side. He slipped. Understandably so. We had a downpour just before the start of the game, and this field is one that does get a little slippery.
Well, just to recap for anybody who might just be tuning in, Frank, the Oakland Raiders got off early when Miami fumbled in its own territory. Oakland recovered, went 38 yards in 10 plays. Elapsed time of the drive, 5:02. They converted 3 big third down plays into first downs, one a 17-yard Stabler pass.
Nottingham got 1 yard, second down and 9. Pulling at the bottom of your screen. Goes to Morris. Kutchenberg with a fine block out in front of Morris, who fumbles the ball, but I believe it was blown dead. Bob Kutchenberg with a fine block out in front of Mercury Morris, who gets 8 yards. It'll be third down, a long one. The ball just over the 20. Here he is, former Notre Dame player. Bob Kutchenberg in there with Larry Little to give the Miami Dolphins 2 of the fine guards in the game. Norm Bulash has come in at fullback for the Dolphins. Number 31. He's in there with the Miami Dolphins' other tight end, Andre Tillman. The standard procedure for most pro football teams on third and short yardage. Bulash with the second effort. Moves out to the just short of the 24-yard line. It'll be a first down for Miami. Here he is, the much-traveled Norm Bulash, I guess you could say, originally drafted by Don Shula, as he comes out of the lineup now, and back goes Nottingham. Now he stays in. Wasn't quite sure whether he belonged there or not. They've been shuffling these running backs around. They have 6 of them they like to play. 5 of them gained over 200 yards in preseason. Malone, Nottingham, Bullish, and Morris. First down. Griese. And the pass intended out there for Twilly, doing a fine job defensively, was number 24, Willie Brown. Took his one shot.
He really bumped Twilly. Gifford. Remember in our opening game a year ago, that thriller in which Buffalo beat Oakland 21-20 on the late pass in the final seconds by Ferguson to Ahmad Rashad? It looked to us then that Willie Brown might be at the end of the trail, but the real story turned out to be that at an advanced age, he had missed much of training because of the strike. It took him longer to get in shape. He's back and effective. Second down, the ball short of the 24-yard line of Miami. They trail 7-0. 4:45 remaining in the first quarter. Here comes an Oakland rush. Griese gets it off, intended for Mandich. Good defensive play by number 43, George Atkinson, and Monty Johnson dropping back from middle linebacker. That's the ticket, Gifford. Monty Johnson has become a first-rate middle linebacker. A defensive lineman, you'll remember at Nebraska, Frank. They quickly converted him to the lineback position, and he is doing a fine job in the middle lineback position. Dan Connors, another of those victimized by the 43-man rule. You all remember the splendid number 55 through all of the years with the Oakland Raiders, Dan Connors. No longer here.
The Raiders put in their number 1 draft pick, the All-American from Ohio State, on the prevent defense, number 45, Neil Colsey. 5-man defensive secretary on third down and 10. Griese in trouble led to Oakland's first touchdown. And Miami having multiple problems moving the ball against the Oakland Raiders.
Tony Klein is not the biggest guy in football, but he's quick, and that's really what the front four Oakland is. They're quick. They're not very strong and not very heavy, but they're very quick to the pass rush. And, of course, Klein comes in, takes an inside release, and gets Griese, who can't really scramble too well. He's got to lay back in the pocket and have a little time to throw the ball.
Larry Seipel drops the punt for Miami, kicking to a dangerous man, the youngster I spoke of a moment ago, number 45, Neil Cosell. The All-American from Ohio State, and he did everything for the Buckeyes. Played in the Rose Bowl 3 consecutive years, and Seipel has to hurry it. It goes end over end. Colsey without the fair catch. Colsey inside the 40 of Miami to the 39-yard line. Hit there by Mike Colon of Miami. 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. The Raiders 7, Miami nothing.
Home light makes...
Some 80,000 fans jammed into the Orange Bowl in Miami. They came expecting to see their pets, their favorites, the 5-time playoff Miami Dolphins. And right now, the Oakland Raiders are dominating with 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell and Alex Karras. There's the man that has led the Oakland Raiders in their one touchdown drive that took 5 minutes to play. Capped off by Pete Banaszak driving in from the 2-yard line. Set up by a fumble recovery by Tony Klein. And once again, Oakland in good field position after forcing a 14-yard drop by Griese. It's on first down, and the ball goes to Harold Hart, the second-year man out of Texas Southern. He gets 5 yards.
What Miami needs here is a break, a turnover, lest this game begin to get out of hand early. The Oakland team is a powerhouse, popularly felt to be perhaps the strongest team in the National Football League in terms of pure personnel. Pittsburgh adherents would argue with that, of course, but Miami just can't afford to give up another touchdown to the Raiders.
Second down and 6. The ball just short of the 35-yard line. Turns the corner, gets close to the first down, taken out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Another Oakland Raider first down. Marv Hubbard, who went out for a few minutes in the first quarter, we thought perhaps he was shaken up. Back in the lineup, you see him shaking his right arm, his right shoulder, seemingly all right, if that run is any indication.
Miami's only been going with 3 men on a defensive line, and now they put in the 4th one right now. I don't know what their thinking was on that, but they finally got it back into a 4-man situation in front.
Both wide receivers on the first down move out to the right for Kenny Stabler of the Oakland Raiders. Brent Tibolitnikov coming back to the weak side. Getting the call is Harold Hart. Hart gets a couple of yards, taken out of bounds by Mike Colon, and we talked about the youngsters in the middle of that defensive unit for the Miami Dolphins, but Mike Colon has quite a burden. At middle linebacker, he has been a steady performer, a strong performer on the outside, but the middle spot is new, and anyone who's ever been in that spot knows that it takes a special kind of knack to play that position.
Not only that, Giff, he openly says that he doesn't like playing that position. He is, of course, the hardest hitter by repute on the Miami team.
All right, the ball is marked just inside the 28. Second down, 10. Stabler firing and picked off. Picked off by Charlie Babb, number 49. Charlie Babb, who's in the lineup, replacing the great Dick Anderson. Gives Miami a much-needed break.
That's exactly right. The break they needed. They're equal in turnovers now. The fumble recaptured by Tony Klein earlier in the quarter at the very top of the contest that Oakland capitalized on for the score. Now Miami has, while not great field position, reasonable. They're at their own 30 or just about at it. And let's see if they can muster up an offense.
Well, they put a little pressure on Stabler, too. They had the middle tackle go all the way to the outside. They're twisting terrifically in there, and I've never seen them happen before. And, of course, this is causing some problems for Stabler.
And you saw once again the slippery turf as Branch went down. Babb made the pickoff. First and 10 for Miami. Ball just over their own 29-yard line. They trail 7-0. Fully in motion. time it's picked off by Oakland. Gerald Irons. Dropping deep. Gerald Irons. The linebacker from Maryland State.
Notice how quickly the boos begin. The cheers that greeted the Dolphins at the very start of the contest, transposed with immediacy into the expression of vocal disfavor.
And a ball transformed to the Raiders.
Such are the dispositions and loyalties of the fans.
And certainly circumscribed around Gerald Irons on that particular play.
That's right. The linebackers for Oakland, by the way, are 86, Gerald Lyons, 58, Monty Johnson, 41, Phil Villapiano out of Bowling Green, Ted Hendricks, number 83, probably sidelined all night with a pulled groin muscle. The recent acquisition and superb linebacker destined ultimately to replace Gerald Lyons, who made that interception.
On first down, Stabler. Over the middle to his fullback, Marv Hubbard, and Hubbard inside the 35 down to the 32. Hit there by Bob Matheson, and there is a flag back now. It's going to come back, a holding call going against Oakland. A gain of 18 nullified by a holding call. Ten-yard mark off.
Just to show you Oakland's domination, notwithstanding that penalty, Frank, Oakland has gotten the ball respectively on Miami's 38, 39, and 46-yard lines. Always they've been in superb field position.
Gene Upshaw, the left guard for Oakland, was caught holding. So Oakland now with the first down at their own 44-yard line. Out to the right goes Biletnikoff. To the left, Branch. Tight end is Bob Moore. The call is hard, and getting in there quick was John Andrews. John Andrews, a much-traveled rookie, at least in the National League. Originally drafted by Detroit, as Howard mentioned earlier, played a couple of years up in Canada. So, Miami will bring out some of their bigger men. They'll insert number 41, Jarris White, into the secondary. He's back there along with Jake Scott. Also, Barry Hill, number 44. 6 defensive secondary men for Miami on second down and 20. Stabler firing, and Jarris White was there to deflect it. And you notice that when you take out your defensive lineman, you don't get the pass rush, but you can get superb coverage in the deep areas.
And I would advise our viewers to watch 44, the rookie defensive back from Iowa State. Another Miami, well, he's not really a sleeper in terms of the draft. He was picked within the top 5. But an outstanding player who's desperately needed because of the absence of Dick Anderson. And by the way, Frank, as you know, Jake Scott is playing banged up tonight. He's hurt.
Yes, he is. Jake Scott, with a knee operation off season, injured his shoulder 3 weeks ago, but he's in there playing as John Madden looks out to his Raiders, who have a third down and 20. Stabler throwing over the head of Mike Siani. And Oakland will have to turn the ball over to Miami. Oakland with a 7-0 lead.
They're getting a lot of protection, Stabler. He's just been off target right now, but that won't last all game, that's for sure. He'll come back.
Ray Guy will punt for Oakland. Superb athlete, Ray Guy. Number 1 draft choice is 73. He'll kick deep to Freddie Solomon, 86. Here's Freddie. Solomon, second-round draft pick for Miami out of Tampa this year. Was a running quarterback. And what a fine running quarterback he was. Guy puts the foot to this one. Solomon fields it at his 12. Good return by the rookie from Tampa all the way out to the 32-yard line. He took a chance at the 12 and it paid off. 22-yard return. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl after this.
L.B. Booth pulled it off for Yale against the Catfish Smith Georgia team in the early 30s.
It was 31, wasn't it? I remember that.
First and 10 for Miami. Gulash driving for yards Kenny Malone and Don Nottingham and Mercury Morris had tremendous preseasons rushing. It was the best rushing year the Dolphins have ever had. And there is a good look at him. Came up in 1970, drafted number 1 by Don Shula when he was with Baltimore. Headed into Philadelphia. Had a problem with concussions last year. Second down and 4. Ball at the 37. Moves out to the 40. It'll be third down, 2 yards for Miami.
I'd like to see Mercury Morris have a great season this year, and I'll tell you the reason why. You know, he's been behind 2 of the greatest ball players and didn't get to play as much as he'd like to. He knows the pressure's on him this year.
He wasn't a competitor. Behind Kick. Kick got mad because he was behind Mercury.
Yeah, but they switch back and forth an awful lot, Howard, and I think he knows that he has to control the game for Miami now, and he's going to do a job.
Third down. Just over the 40 for Miami. Nottingham is in there now, number 36. Play action fake by Griese. He wants the whole bundle. And he goes down at the 32. A loss of 7. Otis Sistrunk, number 60, was in there, along with Gerald Irons. A gamble by Griese backfires.
Well, he had absolutely no one to throw to, Gifford. The fans boo him off the field again. The young man is a poised, veteran quarterback. One of the better ones in football.
That's the end of the first quarter. Oakland over Miami, 7-0. We'll return to the Orange Bowl in a moment. Marv Hubbard is the man they like to get through the ball in the short situations. Okay. This is Larry Seipel. Single safety, Neil Cosell. Cosell at his own 24. And Cosell goes down as he goes over the 35.
Slipping all over the place.
Gets out to the 39-yard line. A gain of 13. Andre Tillman hustling down there for Miami. Neil Cosell, what a great career he had at Ohio State. The number 1 draft pick. 3 times, 3 consecutive years in the Orange Bowl, rather the Rose Bowl.
And a fine all-star game, too. As a matter of fact, 2 defensive back rookies on Oakland figure to be outstanding in the future. Cosell from Ohio State and Phillips from your alma mater, USC.
Minus 21 yards passing for Miami. You don't win football games that way. And Miami trails 7-0. Ball just short of the 39 as Oakland takes possession. Marv Hubbard back in the lineup over the left side, getting yardage out to the 45-yard line. A gain of 6.
In line with the conversation we had, Alex, during the preseason, Marv Hubbard asked me to tell you today that any team of 11 guys playing today could beat any team of 11 guys playing 10 years ago.
How about in a fist fight?
That we didn't discuss because you were never noted for your pugilistic ability.
Second down and 4. The ball just short of the 45-yard line. Harold Hart over the left side. This time he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Picks up a yard, maybe a yard and a half. Hit there by Mike Colon, number 57, and Don Reese, number 76.
Remember that Harold Hart was the rookie surprise of a year ago. 11th round draft choice out of Southern University. He's saying frontline duty tonight because of a muscle pull that's been hampering Clarence Davis, number 28.
There's Neil Cosell. Had 15 interceptions at Ohio State. Change in his shoes. We told you the polyturf here at the Orange Bowl gets slippery when it gets wet. And we had a downpour just prior to the start of the game. Third down, 3. The ball just over the 45 for Oakland. Stabler, Hubbard wide open over the middle. First down inside the 40 of Miami. Marv Hubbard hit there by Mike Colon. And somehow or other, Kenny Stabler is victimizing a Miami defensive unit, and one would suspect that it might be a problem of Mike Colon at middle linebacker.
Well, when you see a back come out of there, it's usually a linebacker that's supposed to pick him up, and right now they're just coming out of there at will and catching the ball.
The first down is just short of the 38-yard line. Out to the left goes Cliff Branch. Out to the right is Bolitnikoff. And Pete Banaszak is back in with Jeff Phillips, number 35. Banaszak is 40. Here's Banaszak. Big hole, and Banaszak spins and twists inside the 30-yard line.
Once again, they're ripping through that young middle of the Miami defensive line. They're definitely feeling the absence of Manny Fernandez and Bob Hines.
Well, you can see Randy Crowder, 74. He's a tough young kid, and he's going to be a good one. But right now, they're pushing him down the line, and they're taking advantage of that middle, as Howard pointed out. And big holes are being open. Here's Colin right here. He's hitting in pretty good, and now he's getting blocked off pretty good by the center in there. Center's doing a good job, the new center for the Jim Lanker's doing a fine job.
Well, Jim Otto said today he's been working with Dave Dalby for past 3 years now, and he says he's a quick learner, and he says he's going to fill the job badly.
There was a gain of 9 by Banaszak. Second down, less than a yard for Oakland. Stabler. Wide open, tight end, Dave Casper. And Oakland continues to move. A gain of 15 as the second-year man, Dave Casper from Notre Dame, comes up with a key catch for Oakland.
You know, you look back 2 years, it used to be suicide to pass against this Miami team. And you know the way this Miami team was coordinated, the defensive unit. It became famous as the no-name defense. The man who molded it, of course, it's an old story, Bill Onspark, who is now doing a superb coaching job with the Giants. And I think they still miss him down here.
First and 10 at the 13-yard line. Stabler with a lot of time. Dumps it off to Banaszak. And he has a lot of running room. Banaszak all the way down to the 5-yard line. Hit there finally by Doug Swift.
I know what Otis Sistrunk, number 60, right there on your camera saying right now. He's saying easy money. He hasn't played over 2 minutes, I don't think.
And as you can see, too, it's hot. Alex, you'd like to see Oakland play ball possession. Only about 80 degrees, 79 at kickoff, but it is humid. Showers off and on during the course of the day.
Heat is one of the things that's helped the Dolphins with their great winning record in this ballpark in the past. As you know, Frank, many teams fade about the fourth quarter again.
On second down and 3. Marv Hubbard pulls over the right side.
You know, you're talking about the heat situation, and when Shula got over here and started taking over the coaching reins here, he made his ball players go out 4 times a day in this kind of heat, and that really got them in good shape. And they weren't the best football team the first year he had them, but they were certainly in good shape, and they took advantage of this kind of weather down here.
There he is, Don Shula. What a great coaching record he has. The youngest ever to win 100 games. You see how much Oakland has to make to pick up the first down. It'll be third down, as you see, less than a yard.
Can you imagine practicing 4 times a day, Frank? That's what they did, you know.
No, that's cause for early retirement. 11:09 remaining in the first half. The Oakland Raiders have dominated. However, they lead by only 7. Banaszak going over from the 2-yard line. Right now, Kenny Stabler looking over the Miami defense at a third down and less than a yard. Banaszak, as he scored the touchdown, hurdles over the defense. Stopped there by Jake Scott at the 2-yard line. Pete Banaszak, 6 feet, 210, been around for 10 years. He's here, as Howard mentioned earlier, because he can do a lot of things for Oakland. Oakland continuing to grind. A big play for them in the first quarter was a fumble recovery. The fumble by Nottingham of Miami. Tony Klein was right there. 5 minutes later, they were in the end zone. Pete Banaszak scoring from 2 yards out. They lead 7-0. Banaszak, and this time he drives just on his own and takes John Andrews, big number 70, with him. Pete Banaszak, bigger than he looks. You saw his power. John Andrews is over 250, 6'6". Banaszak just lifted him up and took him with him.
He's doing a good job out there. Schuler obviously fretting. As you look at Don in the picture, Banaszak's doing a well of a job. Hubbard went out. Looked like he might have hurt his shoulder, Frank.
He was shaking his arm, but he came back after he appeared to hurt it the first time. Okay, it's second down. Banaszak, no question this time. Banaszak with his second touchdown on the night. And Oakland moves out in front of the Miami Dolphins, 13-0. And there's Marv Hubbard getting some treatment on the sidelines, but appears to be an injured shoulder. What a loss that would be. Tim Foley coming to the sidelines for Miami.
Well, that time Oakland went 61 yards, 10 plays, elapsed time of drive 5:23, and Miami is in danger of having this game get out of hand.
48-year-old George Blanda, every time he does anything on a football field, it's a record, and at this point he extends Oakland's lead to 14-0 over Miami. We'll be back in just a moment. 14-0, the Raiders, a perennial bridesmaid to pro football. They always get to the playoffs. That's almost a foregone conclusion when the season begins. But then something seems to go wrong in the playoffs. Ray Guy kicking off for Oakland. And puts his foot into this one, deep into the end zone. Freddie Solomon, very wisely, takes the ball and takes the touchback.
And what a foot he's got.
This is Griese. And this is Mercury Morris, and running into a lot of trouble. Mercury Morris in there from his middle linebacker spot, Monty Johnson.
Generating no ground game at all, the Miami Dolphins. Let's take a look at that last touchdown. Beat Banaszak, good blocking, a hold goes in easily. The head down, its own battering ram, Alex.
They're just driving it home. You see the offensive lineman just knocking the defensive lineman apart, and the fullbacks are going in with the head down, and it's just basic football right there, folks, right on the goal line.
Loss of 4 by Mercury Morris. Second down and 14. The ball at the 16-yard line. Griese back and looking. Griese will go down. Horace Jones, number 82, from defensive end, all over Bob Griese, and the Bluebirds begin to vocalize once again.
Well, we're talking about one of the weaknesses the Oakland Raiders have, and I think it's because their defensive line is a little light. And if you can take the ball to them on running and control the ball game that way, you can beat Oakland. But if you get behind and enable that defensive lineman just to rush that passer and not worry about the run, then it's going to be a big, big, long night. And you can see right now this is exactly what's happening. They're really pouring in on the quarterback.
And too, Alex, they are not a team that makes mistakes. Their head coach John Madden and Al Davis do not tolerate mistakes. Third down at 21. Goulash eyeing the right side. Goulash picks up about 4 yards. He needed 21.
I'm surprised, Alex, by the inability to generate a ground game on the part of Miami, because the one thing that's been untouched in this whole Miami superstructure has been the offensive line. It remains a superb unit. You don't have better pulling running guards than 66 Little, 67 Kuechenberg. You can't get a better guy than 73 Norm Evans. And yet they haven't been able to move the ball against Oakland on the ground, and Oakland was very weak in defending the rush last year.
That statistic translated: Raiders 14, Miami nothing. Seifel puts the foot to it. Back deep, Neil Colsey, and he takes it on the fly and immediately is nailed at the 40-yard line. Down there, the center, Jim Langer, number 62, a 33-yard punt, a 6-yard return. 7:28 remaining in the first half. A game dominated by Oakland. Oakland out in front of Miami, 14-0. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl in just a moment. 7:28 remaining in the first half at the Orange Bowl. As you see, the Raiders out in front of Miami, 14-0. And this program is being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds and allow our local stations to identify themselves. Manny Fernandez sidelined, one of the great tackles for Miami over the years, out with an injured ankle. 1 first and 10. Oakland gives the ball to Banaszak. He turns the corner, has running room. And Oakland chewing up the Miami defense as Banaszak goes down to the 26-yard line, a gain of 14.
And the guy they turned the corner on there, Doug Swift, the gentleman from Amherst. Miami has another problem that seems obvious at this point, Giff. In trying to get back in the ball game, they don't have the Warfield type who can break open that game for you or can get you back in so quickly because of the big play.
Mark Van Egan comes in for Oakland, second-year man out of Colgate. He's in there, number 40. Or rather, number 34, Harold Hart. And Harold Hart spins away from a tackle by Charlie Babb. And now a flag goes down as John Andrews comes over to make the stop on Hart. Harold Hart, second-year man. There's the clipping. There's the foul indicated against Miami. Two second-year running backs in there now for Oakland. And now Jess Phillips come in. Jess Phillips acquired from New Orleans by the Oakland Raiders. That's the story. It has been all Oakland. They capitalized on a fumble by Nottingham of Miami, went in to score a 2-yard touchdown by Banaszak. They have been in complete control of the game. Banaszak scored just a few moments ago, again from 1 yard out. And John Madden has to be happy with what he's seeing this evening, while his counterpart, Don Shula, must be wondering what's ahead. First and 10. Ball at the 14-yard line. Phillips! Jeff Phillips! What a hole! Huge hole. A flag is down, however. Jess Phillips, he was acquired from New Orleans. It was suspected he had a bad knee. He showed up and became the outstanding rusher for Oakland during the preseason. As you see, the holding call against Oakland, that one will come back. Hubbard, we have been told, has a dislocated shoulder.
He's out for the rest of the game.
And much more than that, one would suspect. Marv Hubbard with a dislocated shoulder has gained nearly 900 yards over the past 4 years.
And you know, it's really funny, but Steve Toll, number 56, is a young, inexperienced ball player, and he's bumping into his lineman right there, and he just runs right past the doggone Jess Phillips. And Jess Phillips, to me, Frank, is an acquisition that they picked up that's really going to help this team. And you say Hubbard's out with a shoulder, Jess Phillips will come in, and he's a tough runner.
I've never really understood why he was moved around so much. Michigan State University, a lot of personal troubles, then in with Paul Brown, then down to New Orleans, and now over here, and he's having a ball.
7:05 remaining in the first half. It'll be first down and 20. The ball just inside the 25. That's Mike Cullen. He has been replaced by Toll, whom you saw a moment ago.
They're taking his blood pressure. Notice, Frank, on the right arm.
It's a very warm night. We wouldn't even hazard a guess as to what could be wrong with Mike Cullen, but it is warm. It's very humid. On first down for Oakland. Banaszak bouncing off Miami Dolphins, and he's all the way down to the 11-yard line. Finally dropped by Charlie Babb. 14-yard pickup by Banaszak, who's having some night.
Well, Don Shula has to be in absolute anguish. A number of times tonight we've seen that very thing happen. The Oakland back with the ball, trapped behind the line of scrimmage. Easy prey for a tackler. The clean tackle's not forthcoming, and the Oakland runners breaking into quick daylight. This is not anything like the Miami team we were accustomed to the last 5 years. Not up to this point anyway.
Lewis Carter, still another back for Oakland, is in there, but he slips and goes down, does the rookie from Maryland. But the only setback the Raiders have had thus far. Banaszak now has piled up 45 yards and 8 carries. 2 of those carries resulting in touchdowns.
Of course, the play before this one, you'll see Toll again, number 56, going and really overrunning this play again. He goes right to the right side. And what he has to do really is he has to hang in there a little bit more. He's got to play a little bit more in the middle, and he isn't. And, of course, this gives a natural hole. And here we go again. There's Banaszak.
Steve Toll, the rookie from Kansas. The Miami Dolphins are very high on this youngster, but he is seeing a lot of different things tonight than he saw in preseason from the Raiders. Third down and 6. Ball just inside the 11. Jess Phillips. And Phillips high steps it down to the 6-yard line. Finally stopped there by Bob Matheson.
He's a tough runner, boy, I'll tell you. We used to try and tackle him down there when he played with New Orleans, and you can bring him down, but boy, I'll tell you, you knew in your ball game when you played against him. He's a tough runner.
Still, before he got his momentum underway, 74, Randy Crowder had a good clean shot at him and didn't execute the tackle, taking nothing away from Phillips.
It's 4th down. That means the ancient one, only in chronological age, because George Blanda is still a youngster, will attempt from 25 yards out. And for him, that's almost automatic. Raiders extending their lead over Miami. Oakland 17, the Miami Dolphins nothing. 4 minutes, 54 seconds remaining in the first half. Morris 22. What Miami needs more than anything is one big break, and you look out on the field and you wonder who will give it to them. Solomon from the 1. Out over the 25 to the 26. Hit down there by Warren Bankston, the captain of the special teams for Oakland.
I think Miami needs about 4 big breaks.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something, Howard. I'm not giving you any more cigars. Frank, don't let him have any more of my cigars. His people did not get in touch with my people yet. I'm still not on his show.
Alex, you are on the show Saturday night. I know that.
Really and truly, Howard?
I didn't want you to break the news to him. He's been specially requested.
Well,
we'll get to the rest of the live Saturday night with Howard Cosell in a moment. But right now, the Miami Dolphins trailing 17 to nothing. Moving from their own 26. Fully in motion. Griese goes to Mandich, and you see something that doesn't often happen. Jim Mandich does not hold on to the football.
That's true, and what you saw then was good protection for Griese. That time he had all the time in the world to throw.
of course, it was a running down, and of course, the linemen, are not going to be more apt to rush the passer on the first down situation. Griese knows that. He's trying to do something about it. That's a good play.
He's 0 for 4 at the moment, is Bob Griese. 4:36 remaining in the first half. 2nd down, the ball at the 26. Out to the left comes Twilley. He'll tie up there with the veteran Willie Brown. Out to the right, Nate Moore. Up on his head, top of your screen, Skip Thomas. Is Bulash, and Bulash gets a couple of yards, but it puts Griese back in a passing situation, and he has already been sacked several times tonight.
You talk about lineback play, Alex. Did you see Bill Villapiano close that gap?
He's a tough guy, and he's not a very big guy, but he's quick as the dickens, and he can make get right to the middle of that field or to the outside of that field. He's good on the pass.
He's active. One of the most active guys in the league. That was the hallmark of your old Detroit Lions, with Newmoff and Lucci and Wayne Walker.
That's right. They're very quick.
Larry Seipel is in the ball game for Miami. Setback number 20. He's a good receiver. That's why he's there. 3rd down and 9. Griese has Twilley all alone. Howard Twilley. First down for Miami at the 40-yard line of Oakland. A 33-yard completion. And Edith Twilley put on a tremendous move against Willie Brown. Boy, and Twilley has been shaken up. That smacks a great deal like a possible concussion.
That's all Miami needs. Shula hasn't had enough. In that vein, Frank, I had to wonder why Don traded to New Orleans for a future draft choice as Twilley comes out of the game shaken up, obviously, at the very least. Melvin Baker, the bright prospect from Southern of a year ago. I guess it was because he kept getting hurt.
Take a look at that again. Twilley's off the field now under his own power, walking on the sidelines. He was shaken up just momentarily. And as I suspected, you saw a couple of Raiders slip. That's the 3rd Raider that went down on a very slippery turf. Horace Owens, number 82, replaces Twilley. 1st and 10 for Miami. They're at the 41-yard line of Oakland. Humphrey Morris. Sprinting to the outside. Gets about 3 yards after covering about 30. Taken out of bounds there by Skip Thomas. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Clock moving. 3 minutes. Now stopped with the out of bounds at 3:01 remaining in the first half. We told you it was warm. I believe that's Mike Colon. Here's Twilly. We saw Colon a while ago having his blood pressure taken. Now we have Twilly sucking on oxygen. Very sticky night in Miami. Second down and 6. All at the 38-yard line of Oakland. Out of the flat, and Jim managed. Held on that time. He slammed the ball down in disgust. He had to be very careful of the footing. And had he been able to take a chance, he might have tacked on additional yardage. But he gets the first down at the 29-yard line.
In the long run, the mark of the great quarterback might be patience, the real mark. And that's what Griese has to be here. Miami is too stable a team, too well coached a team to panic even if 17 points behind. So Griese will take the short yardage and not try to go for everything at once.
Might not panic, but you sure can believe he's a little nervous. On first down. Karras over the right side. Finds a hole. Moves for 6 yards. And now flag is down. Personal foul. Face guard. Against Oakland. Look at it again and see if you can pick it up. There's Karras. Right there was Phil Villapiano. Yep. And Phil, he gets a little active out there. He's not one of the biggest people around, and he figures he should be able to do a few things he shouldn't.
Here's Otis being two-timed in there. Takes a little inside rush, and they go right through him on that one. Come on, Otis. Sir.
Miami moving now. They have a first down. They're inside the 19-yard line of Oakland. There's the story in terms of time. 2:50 remaining in the first half. Oakland out in front, 17-0. 2 Banaszak short yardage touchdowns and a 25-yard planned field goal. Morris. Oh, and he's down to the 6-yard line with that great speed. Taken out of bounds by Willie Brown. And this is what Miami did not have last year that they had in the previous years. They would hope that he would return to his form of 72 and 73, and he looks like he may have. Mercury Morris, the great speedster. Doing this really on his own as he moves to the outside. Atkinson totally mistimed his tackle, but Willie Brown is there to save the touchdown. Now they mark it just short of the 6-yard line. The 2 tight ends are in. Jim Mandich, 88. Andre Tillman, 87. Morris. And driving, getting inside the 5-yard line. Now Nottingham trots out onto the field. Morris will depart.
Yeah, the little butterball's in there now. They must have this touchdown to stay in this ball game.
Clock moving towards the 2-minute warning. They should be able to get this play off. Netmore, the single wide receiver, as head coach Don Shula looks on. He knows how desperately Miami needs this touchdown. Whistle blow. I don't know whether we got inside the 2-minute warning or there was contact made. Clock indicates 1:58. But there also was movement at the line of scrimmage. 2-minute warning. So with 2 minutes remaining in the first half, Miami will have a second down on the 4-yard line of Oakland. They trail 17-0. We'll be back.
And as you retired,
Mayflower at a jam-packed Orange Bowl. The Miami Dolphins have been practically run out of this stadium. They trail the Oakland Raiders 17-0. However, they have a second down at the 4-yard line of the Raiders. And can they get it in? They'll be right back in the football game. John Madden looking on. His counterpart, Don Shula. The coaches, 2 coaches with great coaching records. Shula understandably apprehensive. The Dolphins have been shoved all over the field, and yet they are right back in the game. Should they be able to get this in from the 4? Ulash and Nottingham are the two big setbacks. Griese wants it to go to the air. Goes to Nat Moore. Good coverage out there by Skip Thomas. Third down. Karras. It'll be a sprint to the sideline. Berkeley Morris with the great speed puts Miami on the scoreboard. Just outrunning George Atkinson and Skip Thomas.
Well, one of the more interesting studies in this ballpark is the psychology of the fan. The most immediate transition in emotion takes place in this ballpark of any ballpark, I think, in the National Football League. The cheers, the joy, the jubilation being registered now vis-a-vis the instant vocal disapproval. The boos whenever anything goes wrong.
Premian will kick. Earl Morrall will hold. Miami moving 74 yards in 10 plays. The big one, the pass to Twilly from Griese. And Miami makes it a football game with 1:48 remaining in the first half. Oakland over Miami 17-7. And Miami looking a little more like the Miami that we are so familiar with on that 74-yard drive. Let's look at it again. It's just a sprint to the corner by the speedster Mercury Morris. The football with little time. Yepremian will kick to either Hart or Phillips. Harold Hart. And Hart with a good run back out to the 36-yard line. Hit there by Ernest Arone.
You know, you get a sense of unending power, even though they've just been scored on with this Oakland team, Alex. There seems to be so much personnel. Don't you get that feeling?
Well, that's the darn good thing about the Oakland Raiders. They got such great depth, such great confidence in what they can do, and they'll just come back now and try to eat up the time and go in for a touchdown. They don't get too concerned. They don't get too panicked.
First down.
Freddie Solomon, I'm told, Frank, has a dislocated big toe, which has to be a source of major worry.
The 36. Hart is in motion. Banaszak, who has been the chief man in the Raiders running game tonight, moves for 8 yards out to the 44-yard line as Bob Matheson makes a stop, but Miami has not been able to control the middle. We've told you over and over about the two youngsters who are in there, Don Reese and Randy Crowder.
Well,
and now they also have a rookie middle linebacker.
Excuse me. Gene Upshaw and Dave Dalby and George Bueller and John Bella and Art Shaw are doing a terrific job, and what they're doing to that defensive line is they're sending them right up on their toes and knocking them back into their linebackers.
And linebackers cannot move around unless the defensive line at least penetrates or at least holds the line of scrimmage. Mark Van Egan and the second-year man out of Colgate moves into Miami territory. And Oakland will take timeout with 51 seconds remaining in the first half.
Now, if you can watch the middle linebacker, he shouldn't let the center get to him. Dolby's getting told, and he knocks him right back. He goes back and he turns his back on him. And of course, if you're a middle linebacker and you do that, you're not going to last too much longer. I'll tell you that. You're going to have some bad knees and once in a while a bad back.
Told.
What a great year it was for Kenny. 26 touchdown passes.
There's the big man from the University of Mars. Alex's classic comment of a year ago in his very first effort on
I was kidding, Otis. Peace too, brother.
First down. Mark Van Egan, number 30, is the single setback. Stabler going deep. Picked off by Charlie Babb. And Babb gets his first interception of the season. The pass attempted for Branch, and I believe Tim Foley knocked off Branch as he came off the line of scrimmage, giving Babb an easy shot at the interception. But Charlie Babb, who's stepping into big shoes, the big shoes of Dick Anderson, who underwent knee surgery and is out for the season. Gets it.
Miami has the oranges, but Buffalo's got the juice.
19 seconds remaining in the first half, and Miami will certainly try to get the first down because Oakland has one timeout. They'll try and get at least a punt return. Third down and 4. Norm Bulash, and quickly Oakland uses their last timeout. And it's fourth down. Miami will punt. You know, this Saturday, ABC Sports brings you NCAA college football with 4 exciting regional games. North Carolina State at Michigan State. Illinois will be at Texas A&M, Maryland at Kentucky, and San Jose State at Stanford. NCAA regional college football this Saturday on ABC. Now you can check your local listings for the game that will be shown in your area. Larry Seipel comes out for Miami. 14 seconds remaining. Oakland with no more timeouts. They will probably go with everything they have in an attempt to block this punt. Seipel's certainly aware of that. He's a fine athlete. But keep in mind, a fair catch would kill the clock and give Oakland an opportunity for a field goal attempt from that spot. So he knows, too, he has to get off a good punt. And it's not bad. Cosell takes it at midfield. Cosell goes out of bounds. 6 seconds, now 5 seconds, indicating on the clock, and Oakland has no more timeouts. 36-yard punt, 11-yard return. Getting that tie in the last few seconds. Stanford, always tough. Cliff Branch will be picked off again by Charlie Babb as time runs out. Charlie Babb with his second interception of the night. Just as the gun goes off, ending the first half. The Oakland Raiders lead the Miami Dolphins at the end of the first half, 17-7. Stay tuned. We'll go to New York for a special report, and we'll have highlights. Obviously, bigger reason for us to go to New York. That's the unfortunate happening today in San Francisco.
All right, back to the game, Frank, with the kickoff about to occur. Miami had to have gotten some kind of lift from their touchdown late in the second quarter. Earl Morrow warming up. I would doubt that we'd be seeing him in action.
He's got so much arthritis that he has to, warm up that arm.
You said it.
20 years in the league for Earl Morrow. Had a great preseason. Garo Yepremian gets the foot to it. Taken by Harold Hart at his 7. And Hart rumbles out over the 30 to the 32-yard line. And we are anticipating the offensive lineup that we saw in the first half. Kenny Stabler at quarterback. We'll check the setbacks as they come in, but the wide receivers will be Cliff Branch, number 21, Fred Biletnikoff, number 25, the tight end, Bob Moore. The setbacks, Harold Hart, 34. Pete Banaszak, number 40. Marv Hubbard had a dislocated shoulder. We will not see him any further this evening. Just over the 32-yard line, the Oakland Raiders, who got off to a 17-0 lead. Miami came back, scored 7 of their own. It's a closer football game as Banaszak tries the left side. And we'll be interested to see what Don Shula has done with the middle of his defensive unit. Mike Colon is back in a middle linebacker. He had some kind of problem, went out in the first half. But he is back in there, replacing the rookie, Steve Toll.
Let's give Oakland's offensive line credit. It's one of the best in football. 64 Bielis, 63 Upshaw, a pair of great guards, almost matching or matching in efficiency. Little and Kuchenberg of Miami. They can blow out any defensive line.
Second down and 8. Ball resting just over the 35. Draw play, and it goes to Harold Hart. Harold Hart. That's a couple of yards, moving out to the 37-yard line. They'll mark it just short of the 38. So Oakland having trouble. They went right back to where they had their success in the middle of the Miami Dolphin line. This time Miami has put Oakland back in a passing situation. The secondary for Miami. Jarris White is at the right cornerback, or the left cornerback. Curtis Johnson is in there. at the right cornerback. The safeties are number 44, Barry Hill. Jake Scott's in there. Babb's in there. They're all anticipating pass, and they get it. And a good pressure put on Stabler. The ball is overthrown. Miami holds on their first series of downs. They'll get the football back. Pass intended for Moore, well covered by Charlie Babb.
Well, I don't know that Shula told them anything at halftime. That kind of stuff is overrated. It's part of football lore, especially dating back to the years of Rockne at Notre Dame. But obviously, Miami itself has come out spirited and has forced a quick turnover of the football, which they couldn't do for most of the first half.
Ray Guy will punt to Freddie Solomon. Only Oakland's second punt of the night. Guy gets off a good punt. Solomon from his own 20. And getting down there quickly, Warren Bankston. He is a special teams expert, and a flag is down at the 34. Flag down at the 34-yard line. Good punt by Guy. Good coverage. Flipping against Miami.
Well, that's a bad one. Deprives them of a decent field position, puts them right back in the hole. So they've got a long way to go, Gifford.
Offensively for Miami, Griese comes back out onto the field. You'd watch for Morrow warming up. As Alex Karras said, he just needed to loosen up some limbs that have aged a little, over 20 years in the NFL. But Griese's in there. Setbacks are Mercury Morris, 22. Norm Boulash, number 31. Wide receivers, 89. Nat Moore. Howard Twilley, number 81. The tight end, Mandich, 88.
Slipping was on the rookie back of Miami, Stan Winfrey, the kid from Arkansas State.
First and 10 for Miami. Move from just short of their 13-yard line. Boulash over the right side. Phil Villapiano coming in from his linebacking spot to make the stop. Defensive front four for Oakland. Doing a good job throughout the first half against the veteran offensive line of Miami. Langers at center. Little, 66. Kuchenberg, 67, the guards. Wayne Moore, left tackle, 79. Norm Evans, 73, the right tackle. Gain of 4 for Boulash. It'll be second down and 6. Morris. Otis Sistrunk. And Alex, Otis Sistrunk seems to improve every time we watch it.
Well, he can move laterally as good as any defensive lineman I've ever seen, and that's really what he can do best. As far as the run is concerned, I don't know. He's a little weak on the run at times, but I'm not going to argue with Otis. He's a big guy, and he wears garlic around his neck, and he can do anything he wants to Howard.
He's your man. You're saddled with him for the rest of the season, even as you were a year ago. I'll not fight with you. There's Don Shula. The indomitability etched in the visit.
On third down. Hey. Prevent defense. Twilley left. Moore right. Griese with a lot of time and gets off the completion. Now that's Moore from the wide spot, breaking in, finding the hole.
That's the kind of pass I like to see, Alex. Man moves out, comes back, no way to stop it. The ball there virtually as he turns around and comes back. Watch this. Oh, beautiful.
Neil Colsey was in there on the prevent defense. Made the stop. First down for Miami. They're at the 29-yard line.
I must have seen Giff do that 200 times in his career.
What was that?
Without the speed of
Neil Colsey did. On first and 10. Twilley in motion. Griese again, and again with good protection. Wants to go deep, intended for Howard Twilley, not noted for the split legs.
Exactly the point. You can't beat anybody deep with Howard Twilley. Twilley is hard to contain within a restricted area because he is so clever, because he moves so well. But for the deep bomb, no way.
Defensively, we saw Otis Sistrunk again with pressure. Horace Jones is a defensive end along with Tony Klein, number 84. Jones is 82. Sistrunk, of course, 60. Kelvin Carver remains in there, number 71 defensive tackle. The linebackers are Monty Johnson in the middle, number 58, Phil Villapiano 41, Zero Irons 86. Second down and 10. Handoff, and it goes to Morris. He skips to the outside, turns the corner, runs into Willie Brown. Picks up a couple of yards. Give him 3. It'll be third down and 7. That was Larry Seipel, I believe.
He dances with the football the way Alex dances in the dance-off.
Seipel with a good block out there, too.
Seipel happens to be one of the better all-around players in the league in terms of versatility. Again, I'll remind our viewers and listeners of his superb run on a presumed punt situation that carried the Dolphins to a victory over the Steelers a couple of years back in the playoffs.
He's in there for the passing down. He's in there wearing number 20. Good receiver. Oh, you saw it. Miami jumping the count. Pass attempt going to Mandage. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage, and Matt Moore, I believe, was a young man who anticipated that count by about a beat.
At least.
Incompletion will be declined. Oakland wants the football.
Well, you know, we talked about earlier, Miami just can't run that ball, and they can't keep that ball like they used to with the big runners, fullbacks they used to have in Zonka. And consequently, they've been throwing the ball more, and they just have to give up the ball more often. Of course, when you give up the ball, that means that the team that's playing against you can score more often. It's as simple as that. They can't control it.
That makes sense.
Seipel punts. Colsey, the single safety, and Seipel gets off a bad kick. The ball will be down at the 37-yard line. Good field position for Oakland on a 29-yard Seipel punt. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl with 9:47 remaining in the third quarter after this. Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell and Alex Karras with 9:47 remaining in the third quarter from the Orange Bowl in Miami, where the Oakland Raiders lead the Miami Dolphins 17-7. This program being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds and allow our local stations along the line to identify themselves. The Oakland Raiders have a 1st and 10. They'll begin operation from their own 37-yard line. They at one time had a 17-0 lead. 2 Banaszak touchdowns in the first half, a 25-yard field goal, and here's Banaszak again, and not getting the yardage he got in the first half. Gets about a yard. Miami came back with a typical Miami drive of 74 yards, shortened the lead to 17-7, and that's where we are at the moment. What appeared to be a runaway has now settled back to a seesaw battle.
Well, it's simple because that front four of Miami is starting to take over a little bit, and there isn't anything you can teach those guys during a halftime. They physically have to get to the ball clear. They physically have to beat up the guy in front of them. It's a very simple task if they want to do it.
Second down and 9. Goes to Hart on the screen. And Hart gets the first down and more, moving into Miami territory. 15-yard pickup. Hart going out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Taken out of bounds there by Curtis Johnson. Harold Hart, 11th round pick last year. Real surprise.
I think the fans have read and heard enough about the recent strike in the National Football League. And I think they know that management's proposal was placed before the players early today. What the eventual outcome will be, management did offer some concession. It remains to be seen if a whole new hassle will begin.
On first down, Stabler. Looking over the middle where he had success in the first half for Cliff Branch. Branch having trouble staying on his feet tonight. He slipped and fell again.
Well, we're talking about artificial turf, and when they brought in artificial turf, it was supposed to take care of things like that. It was supposed to make it an even game because you wouldn't slip as much. There's an example right there.
He wouldn't have caught that anyway.
This is not one of your better surfaces as artificial surfaces go. It's been known to be slippery in the past. As a matter of fact, the Miami Dolphins have not lost a game here in 31 times out. going all the way back to 1971 of the New York Jets. 1 second down. Here he comes, Jess Phillips. And Phillips. He can run. A bucking Bronco to the 25-yard line. Finally, Bernd Dinherter makes the tackle in pursuit.
They are just chewing up yardage now against this Miami team. Frank mentioned Miami hadn't lost here in 31 times out. On the other side of the coin, Oakland has lost its last 5 opening games, all away from home. But there's a time for everything.
And I talked to Jess Phillips about the idea of the New Orleans peddling him, and he said they went in the office, and the guy said that he was looking for younger ball players. This guy's only been in the league 8 years, and I think he's terrific.
First down at the 25. Beginning to call now is Van Egan. And the second-year youngster from Colgate inside the 5-yard line. Finally stopped by Curtis Johnson. Mark Van Egan, who broke a couple of Marv Hubbard's records at Colgate.
Boy, did that offensive Oakland line blow them out. Wow.
Oh, what's so bad? Again,
Bella and Beeler and Upshaw.
They're knocking the linemen right back into the linebackers, and they can't help out at all. It's just a real mess in the middle right now. It's confusion going on.
First and goal. The ball just short of the 3-yard line. The 2 tight ends in for Oakland, Moore and Casper. Van Egan gets the call again. The attorney for the defense, Howard.
That fellow with the head bowed is Nick Bonaconi, number 85. Practicing barrister. Great middle linebacker for so many years. And in personal agony, you see the cast on the thumb that was broken that sidelined him. And I mentioned under the 43-man roster limit, Shula felt compelled to put him on injured reserve, which means he's out for the year. Tough for a guy like that to sit and watch, just as it's tough for Jim Otto, who said today he felt like his life was over.
Second and goal. Van Egan scores. Mark Van Egan touchdown. This drive had, coming up to the last scoring play, had consecutive gains of 15, 22, and 21. And Van Egan has just gone in from the 2-yard line.
He made it look easy on that drive, Alex.
You know, you're talking about Jim Otto, and it really is funny because I saw him today. He's now the business manager, and instead of talking about the guy he has to play against tonight, he was talking about how much meals have gone up over there at the hotel.
$18.5 a man for dinner last night, he said.
He was very unhappy.
Different priorities. George Blanda had the conversion for Oakland, and the Raiders are now out front of the Dolphins 24-7. 6 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in the third quarter from Miami, where we'll return in just a moment. Karras, 2 yards deep. He'll stay there. Touchback.
Let's have another look at that touchdown. Once again, the hole is opened, and young Van Egan of Colgate goes in for the score. Imagine one of the most powerful teams in the NFL having 2 backs on the team from Colgate. The Red Raiders of the Shenango Valley can be joyous about this event.
Miami will move from their 20-yard line. Following the touchback, Willie out to the left, out to the right, and that's Moore. The setback, Kulash, 31, Moore, 22. Away from Otis Sistrunk. Out of bounds. Complete to Nat Moore. No. Linesman Burl Toller gave an indication that it did appear that it was caught out of bounds, but now he caught it at the 33-yard line, a 13-yard pickup and a first down. Now let's look at Nat Moore working against Skip Thomas. Here's Thomas looking back as Griese got in trouble, and there he is all alone. And that's the reason. Jack Tatum hit him. He came down out of bounds.
Here comes Manny Sistrunk doing a good job rushing. He's getting held a little bit. He's waltzing with his guard. Larry Little's doing he did a pretty good job. Larry Little did a pretty good job on Sistrunk at that time. Didn't hold him.
First down for Miami. Jeffrey Morris. Morris Goes out to the 37-yard line, just short of the 38. A gain of 4. It'll be second down and 6.
Frank, this Saturday, ABC's Wide World of Sports has a very special show. Ali against Frazier. Super Fight 1, the classic battle in 71, and then the avenging battle. The first one won by Frazier, the second by Ali in 74. Plus, via the satellite, live, the weigh-in of the two. Some 48 hours before Super Fight 3. That's ABC's Wide World of Sports this Saturday.
Second down and 6. Morris gets the first down and a couple more. Moving out to the 48-yard line. A gain of 9. Tackled there by Gerald Irons.
I'll tell you, Ted Hendricks is destined to replace Gerald Irons, but Gerald Irons is a pretty good customer to replace.
Gerald Irons is a very good linebacker, and of course he's from Gary, Indiana, which I hail from, and a great representative from that city. And incidentally, my brother Teddy is going to be a councilman in Gary, so that's quite a deal.
And Gary, Indiana was a famous song from the Music Man. Where do we go from there?
I'll sing it later.
Miami moving. They trail 24-7. Twilley in motion. Hand off to Bullock. Bullock over midfield, down to the 47-yard line, hit by Phil Villapiano.
Well, they're putting some life into the game with this drive, the Dolphins are. Griese in trouble, scrambling, set it up with a saving pass to Nat Moore. We've got an injury on the field. Who is that, Giff? Can you tell?
I can't see for the moment. One of the defensive linemen appears to be Kelvin Korver, number 71. Northwestern College in Iowa. He's been replaced out there by Art Toms. Now, Art Toms, the Raiders were hoping would not have to play tonight because he has a very badly pulled muscle. Second down and 4. The ball is at the 47. Morris. Ooh, and Phil Villapiano is in there a little late. The crowd, obviously a partisan Miami Dolphins crowd, did not like Villapiano's little move in there.
No, they're not partisan-minded here, Frank.
Well, they are when they're ahead.
They'll threaten your life if they're not on the halftime highlight.
You should know, having left Miami out so many times a couple of years ago.
Had nothing to do with it.
There's the measurement. Tom's obscuring our view, but referee Jim Tunney indicating about 6 inches.
Let me tell you, I know of Alex's affection for 60 Otis Sistrunk, but in my book, Art Tom's number 80 out of Syracuse, who took several years to develop, has become the outstanding defensive lineman on Oakland and one of the very best in the National Football League. Tremendous football player.
That's okay. I'll tell Otis about it, Howard. You figure it out.
I'll get Ali. Don't worry me.
On third down.
He used the Nashville song.
Bullock gets the first down and moves inside the 40. Hit there by Monty Johnson.
Big boo's beginning to hit in there.
Just literally carried Johnson for the extra yardage. 3:51 remaining in the third quarter.
Now, you watch Tom's, the guy that Howard was talking about. He is doing what we call the thing, hiding his head in the dirt. And consequently, what happens when you do that is the back runs right over you. Now, that is not a great play, Howard. Otis didn't do that.
Oh, Otis does. He dances.
First down is at the 39-yard line. Twilley in motion. Play action fake. Griese in trouble again. Tries to go to Twilley. The ball batted away. Good pressure by the Oakland Raider front four. Now it's their regular defensive unit they'd like to have. Art Toms is in there, not healthy, but he's in there with Horace Jones, Otis Sistrunk, and Tony Klein.
Wasn't that 26 Skip Thomas who knocked that pass down? Nice play.
One of 4 USC Trojans playing for the Oakland Raiders. There's the good pressure. Tony Klein just missing. Yep, there's Skip Thomas.
Old Skipperoo. He took some time to develop, too, but he's come around.
6 interceptions last year as he really came into his own. Second down and 10. Wayne Moore, the offensive left tackle for the Miami Dolphins, jumping off sides. The offensive linemen, of course, cannot break their stance. Once they take their three-point stance, they cannot move. There he is, Wayne Moore.
Well, he was getting a little nervous because Tony Klein is really putting the outside pressure on him, and he was just a little apprehensive about Tony Klein's great outside rush. I can see that once in a while. Get a little tight in there.
Second down now and 15. Bob Griese. He's been sacked 3 times tonight. As we take a look at Jake Scott, who's had his problems injury-wise. Big safety man for the Dolphins. Griese has gone down 3 times attempting to pass with a loss of 29 yards. Griese again, out of the pocket. Running and throwing complete to Jim Mandich. Not enough for the first down, but he got most of it, moving down to the 32-yard line, a 12-yard pickup. Skip Thomas moving over to make the tackle. It'll be third down and 3, 3:05 remaining in the third quarter. Miami, which has never really been close in this ball game, yet if they get on the scoreboard, they'll be right back in it again.
Well, that's it. It could become interesting because the heat begins to take its toll more and more, and Miami is so accustomed to it, even training in it during the summer.
On third down. Gulash, as a flag goes down. Gulash was close to a first down, but a flag is down. Too much time. Bad. Going against Miami.
Bad for a veteran and poised quarterback normally like Bob Griese. Bad.
We have just been told that Korver will not return to the game tonight, but we do not have an in-depth report on the injury, the extent of the injury to his left knee. So we will not speculate that Kelvin Korver is out of the ball game. Art Thomas, number 80, is in, replacing him. So Bob Griese has been taken out of a possible run for the first down, put into the passing position. Larry Seifel is now in at one wide receiver. He's playing in the slot with Larry Seifel. Basically, Miami has 4 deep receivers in the ball game. And Matt Moore, first down.
Beautiful pass, beautiful catch. Fumbled just for a second, but not really fumble. The ball thrown high, not leaping for it, popping it to the air, and then corralling it again. There it is. There you saw it.
And he had all day to pass the ball, and of course that's the result of it. If you give Bob Griese enough time, he's going to complete them.
16-yard pickup. The ball just short of the 20-yard line. Miami back into their regular throw offense. Nottingham and Bulash now are the 2 setbacks. Nottingham 36, Bulash 31. Bulash. 220 pounds. When he was at Texas A&M, traveled in 9,600.
We've talked about him before, and the NFL fans are thoroughly familiar with his history by now. He has enormous power, enormous speed when healthy. Frank mentioned the concussions that caused steady dizziness last year. Also, a steadiness of muscle pulls. The man is 220 pounds of muscle. Limping a little as he came out there. Stronger even, I think, than Gifford.
And a whole lot bigger. Carries the weight well at 220 pounds. Just short of the first down. It'll be second down. Clock moving with 1:50 showing. is back in now with Nottingham. Morris 22, Nottingham 36. This is Twilley in motion. Morris gets the first down, moving inside the 10 to the 9. Miami with another sustained drive. And they can make it a ball game if they can get on the scoreboard. But Oakland showing a lot of power. Griese up to the line of scrimmage with another first down. First and goal, the ball at the 9. Intended for Howard Twilley, could not hold on. Don Chula. His team hurt last year. The loss of Zonka, Warfield, and Kick. Decimated during the preseason, I guess is the proper word for the injuries that some of his key players have suffered. 5 players who started against the Oakland Raiders in the AFC playoff a year ago are not in the lineup tonight. Second and goal. Nottingham spinning and twisting. He's inside the 5. Nottingham tackled there by Toms in pursuit. Still leaves Griese with a problem. The ball will be marked just short of the 3-yard line, and it's third down.
It leaves him with a big problem, Frank. Do you pass or do you run on this down, Giff?
Well, they have some high-priced ball players as far as backs are concerned. I think if they have only 3 yards, let them run it and see if they can't pick up 3 for $65,000 apiece.
I pass.
Makes the first down. It's third and goal.
So does Griese.
Griese. Twilley caught the ball. Had to come out of the end zone to catch it. Howard Twilley with good coverage by Willie Brown. Had to come out of the end zone. Brown was all over Twilley. They mark it just about a foot from the goal line.
Okay, first down. But I still say pass.
So it'll be fourth down.
All right.
And trailing 24-7. I know we will not see a premium. And that's the end of the first quarter. The end of the third quarter here in Miami. The Dolphins a foot away from a touchdown with fourth down. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl right after this. The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. 15 minutes of regulation play scheduled for the Orange Bowl here in Miami. The Miami Dolphins have a fourth down. The ball has now been placed inside the 1-yard line. Howard Twilley caught a third down pass from Griese. He was in the end zone, had to come out. So the pressure is on the Miami Dolphins. They need this touchdown desperately. Bulash gets the call, and he gets into the end zone.
Boy, he did it on sheer individual power. And they should have had it 2 plays ago, in my opinion.
Don Chula looks on as the Dolphins are back in the football game. In 15 plays. And Don Chula is obviously upset. Probably by the call that of the completion from Griese to Twilley. Here's Gary Premium. Good. For the Oakland Raiders now lead the Miami Dolphins 24-14.
All right, let's look at that pass play that's caused at least some concern on the part of Don Shula and yours truly. There's Griese moving to his left, throwing the Twilly. That's going to be hard to tell, but you can understand Shula's cause they're pushed back by the tackler, so it's questionable. Okay, it's a tough one. We'll grant that. Now let's look at the touchdown play. Big Boo, forcing it. Look, being thrown back and then pushing his way over two men. Sheer individual power.
Just good running by Norm Bulash, who was the key factor in that drive of 80 yards by the Miami Dolphins. Carrier Permian will kick off deep. Harold Hart, 34. Jess Phillips, 35. Second-year man from Texas Southern. And how often do you see that? He hesitated. Tried to stay in the end zone, changed his mind. You see that so often on kickoff returns. The player will bobble the ball, then they'll run all the way. They'll make a mistake, and all of a sudden it opens up.
Watch this again. You'll see a scythe, really, up the middle. That was the quick hesitation that Phillips mentioned.
Phillips had told him to stay in the end zone. And he started to go back, and you better believe he's happy he didn't. 101 yards.
It looks so easy when it works so well.
George Blanda.
You talk about taking the heart out of a team, Frank, just when Miami had roared back. A brilliantly sustained drive. Using the ground so effectively with occasional passing by Griese. Bulash, as you pointed out, hitting so well through the line. And then back in the ball game, poof.
Offsides indicated against Miami before the ball was even snapped. Blanda hits for the conversion. And the Raiders now move out to a 31-14 lead over Miami. There's Harold Hart. A very happy Harold Hart. Ray Guy. Put in it. This will be Freddie Solomon at the 5. Solomon out over the 25, out to the 26. Lewis Carter down there to make the stop for Oakland. Little Freddie Solomon would not duplicate Hart's spectacular run. Hart, who had been told to stay into the end zone by the other deep man, Jess Phillips, hesitated, stepped back in, then realized he couldn't.
I love the way Garl
went.
Did you see Garl try to chase him down the sidelines there? He didn't know what to do if he caught up with him, for crying out loud. He wouldn't know what to do with it.
First down, Miami. Bob Griese will have to unlimber the arm if they're to have any hope here tonight. Sistrunk with the pressure of the screen pass to Bulash. Bulash slips as he crosses the 30-yard line. It'll be a gain of 6, second down and 4.
Frank, I am advised that President Ford is on his way back to Washington now. And, of course, in the light of the threat upon his life today, we'll be cutting back and forth with our news people, ABC, to keep you up to date. Developments, President's return to the national capital.
All right, second down and 4. The ball at the 32-yard line. There's Morris on the quick toss. And Monty Johnson coming over from middle linebacking. Makes the stop after Willie Brown comes up from his cornerback spot. Loss of a yard.
Here's Garl. Number 1 jersey. I don't think he's a number 1 tackler, though. He's
an old teammate of yours.
Yes,
Detroit, wasn't Alex?
He played the first 2 years with us, and didn't really know what the extra point and field goal, how much it was worth. He really didn't. He thought field goals were 4 points.
Third down and 6. Ball at the 32. The setbacks are Seipel, Winfrey, good receivers in the passing situation. Griese throws to Natmore. It's behind him, and Natmore pays the price of receivers coming over the middle. Collected there by Monty Johnson. Fourth down, Miami. Out comes the punting unit.
Oakland at this point must be feeling very good. The jinx of the past, 5 straight losing opening games. Oakland this year has one of the easier schedules in the NFL. Their 2 toughest remaining games, and I know we're just beginning, but as I scan the schedule, appear to be Cincinnati and Washington.
Larry Seipel, single safety, Neil Colsey. Beautiful kick that backs Colsey all the way to his 20. Trying for the picket line. He will not get there. Steve Toll down there quickly. 48-yard punt, 7-yard return. We'll return to Miami in just a moment. And the Raiders have been awesome in every respect. They lead 31-14. They have a 1st and 10. Kenny Stabler going all the way at quarterback. Hands off to Mark Van Egan, who has performed well this second-year man from Colgate. He gets a couple his 2nd and 8.
Hi there. Recognize this fella? Sure, you remember Star Trek. Now the #1 man in our new series on Monday nights, Barbary Coast. Bill Shatner, of course. Good to have you aboard.
I was enjoying the game until that run back, and then that really ripped them apart. Barbary Coast comes on in most parts of the country just before this game, so we're telling the folks, watch next week. But on the West Coast, watch it after Monday Night Football.
Okay. How's it going?
It's going well.
We've got a fumble, so we'll get back to you later.
Mark Van Egan gave up the football on the fumble.
We may have a game yet, Bill Shatner.
Randy Crowder made the recovery. First and 10 for Miami. They trail 31-14. Let's take a look at it again. Mark Van Egan. He scored for the Oakland Raiders a few moments ago. And Miami has a 1st and 10. They're at Oakland's 32-yard line. Nottingham and Mercury Morris are the setbacks. Coming up with the interception, Willie Brown, as the ball was overthrown. Intended for Nat Moore. Otis Sistrunk, as he has been all night in the offensive backfield of the Miami Dolphins.
You know, Griese's just not having his regular night out there, and
no, that could have been a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know what his problem is. Maybe he's a little leery of the fact that he isn't even throwing those swing passes like he normally does. He's only 9 for 20 for 112 yards, and that's not a good day for Griese.
No, but maybe he's human.
Second down. Dan Winfrey, number 33, is in there, the rookie from Arkansas State. Second-round draft pick. He has a lot of speed, as does Mercury Morris. Natmore gets the first down as the flag goes down at the line of scrimmage. Natmore with another clutch catch, but again, a flag is down at the line of scrimmage. The discussion with Bob Griese would indicate that the penalty will be against the Raiders, which it is, and you saw Bob Griese nodding to referee Jim Gunny. No, we'll take the play. Personal foul called against Oakland, declined. Well, it occurred after the reception, so therefore the penalty is tacked on. There was the reception, another fine catch by Nat Moore. There's the personal foul indicated against Oakland. And Horace Jones picked up the personal foul. The penalty tacked on after the completion. So Miami has a first and goal. They trail 31-14. Griese went like Willie. Willie fell down. Griese left to run. And a flag goes down in the end zone. We could have pass interference. Willie was trying to get open in the end zone. Tony Klein was pressuring Griese. There it is. Call going against Oakland. I think it's an illegal chucking call that's going to go against the Raiders. Griese again. The options being explained.
Let's have another look at this, Alex, especially our young friend from Bowling Green, Phil Villapiano.
Well, number 41, Phil Villapiano, we've talked about him a lot of times and his versatility on the football field. He can go, wide and come in and make the tackle on the inside. And we'll get to him in just a minute.
Call, illegal use of hands against Howard Twilley. Atkinson, the defensive safety man of Oakland. The guilty Oakland Raider. First and goal. Dropped the football. Mercury Morris dropped it, but he came back up with it. Don Shula looking concerned as well he should. There's John Madden. He always looks concerned.
A lot of things got to happen very fast for Miami to get back in this game. They need this touch. They need another quick break of turnover.
Bob Griese will drive you crazy close to the goal line because you don't know if he's going to pass on first down like he did this time or run it, and he drives you absolutely nuts as far as the defense is concerned. We don't know what he's going to do when you're a defensive ball player.
Second down, the ball inside the 2. Morris, backfield into the end zone. And out come the waving white handkerchief. That has become a tradition here in the Orange Bowl.
Up and over, Gifford. That's the way to get in when you're in that tight.
Garo Yepremian trots out. He will try to bring the Dolphins to within 10. Earl Morrow will hold. Dolphins winning 32 yards in 5 plays. The Dolphins 21, the Oakland Raiders 31. We'll be back in Miami in just a moment. A look from the Goodyear Blimp Mayflower at the Orange Bowl in Miami, and not a fan is left as the Miami Dolphins have moved to within 10 of the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders have 9 men very close to Garo Yepremian, who's kicking off. They're obviously anticipating an onside kick. They do not get it. And Yepremian puts it in and out of the end zone, touchback. Harold Hart was the lone safety for Oakland. But we will not get an onside kick with 10:33 remaining. And there's a touchdown. Mercury Morris going up and over. Jack Tatum was there, could do nothing. So now the Dolphins defensive unit is getting the cheers of the Dolphin fans. They want to...
Excuse me, Frank. They got to get the ball back. They know it. And that front four is really going to have to scramble down, physically try to beat up that team and get the ball back.
Kenny Stabler, who has completed 8 passes tonight to 8 different receivers. Earl Hart. A couple of yards, it'll be 2nd and 8.
On the other side, LeCoyne, I wouldn't recommend that Oakland get too conservative in its play, Alex. It can find itself suddenly having to get rid of the football.
Well, if you're going to go run it 2 down downs and have 3rd down and 7 to go, and then start to throw the ball. An interception could occur, and the game could switch right around again.
Cliff Brandt and Mike Siani are the 2 wide receivers for Oakland. 2nd down and 8. The ball at the 22. Banaszak. The crowd goes crazy as Banaszak is thrown for a loss by Randy Crowder and Tim Foley.
Tim Foley got in there beautifully then.
There he is, Tim Foley. You don't hear much about him, but he always is around the ball.
Young man from Purdue. Highly intelligent fellow. Steady player.
3rd down now for Stabler. There's John Madden. 9:24. The clock is moving in the 4th quarter of the game from Miami. First game for both ball clubs. Both heavily favored in their division. Gene Upshaw, the left guard, says, I cannot hear. Very happy crowd as Miami appears to be moving again, although they still are 10 points away. Frank Gifford along with Alex Karras and Howard Cosell live from Miami.
This is what you would call a nonpartisan crowd.
Speaking of live, Howard Cosell again will be live Saturday night, live with Howard Cosell. Alex Karras will be there. He'll be out in San Diego with the Eagles live this Saturday night. And
Balboa Stadium.
Red Fox, another great cast. Linda Ronstadt. John Wayne. All Saturday night with Howard live. Saturday night live with Howard Cosell. Great show last Saturday. Okay. The crowd hopefully has calmed down a little. 3rd and 10. 6 up in the backfield and Hart maybe gets a yard. Tell me they're not excited.
Well, one mistake by Miami, Frank, and you'll hear boos.
Well, they paid a lot of money to get in here.
I don't like to see Oakland doing what they're doing right now, Frank. They're a little too conservative for me. Maybe they figure their defense can stop Miami, but all they need is a touchdown. They're right back in the ball game.
I agree with you.
Shades of last year, the Raiders of Buffalo, and what a dramatic finish that was. 21-20 win for Buffalo. And okay, Ray Guy is going to punt for Oakland. Deep, Freddie Solomon. Charlie Babb is up short. Babb bobbles the ball, and Solomon saves it at the 39-yard line. Oh, and you heard the breath escape from these 80,000 screaming fans.
All right, we've got 8 minutes, 11 seconds to go. The Dolphins have 10 points to make up. The Raiders 31, the Dolphins 21. The Dolphins trailing all night, apparently listless and out of the game after Harold Hart erupted for a kickoff return of 101 yards to increase the lead of the Raiders at the time to 17. But the Dolphins recovered a fumble, the 4th Oakland turnover of the game, moved in for the score, 31-21. The Dolphins must move and move fast to have a chance for it.
Wow. Get all that, Alec. Here. All right. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. End around. This is Nat Moore. Nat Moore, and you don't trick the Oakland Raiders often. Tony Klein was there, 84. Art Tom's 80. A pickup of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Time already a factor because the Dolphins need 2 scores, not 1. Too much time can't be spent on the ground, yet Griese will want to keep the Raiders honest in both directions. Tough situation, especially against a team so good as the Raiders.
Another Goodyear blimp shot of the jam-packed Orange Bowl of Miami. And Larry Seipel has been sent in by Don Shula to give Bob Griese an extra passing receiver. He's a good one. Griese, complete, and then dropped by Norm Bulash.
38, the Miami Dolphins with the ball, desperately trying to get back into the game. And here is the one and only Gifford.
And while we were away, Mandich picked up a 1 first down with a 12-yard reception. Howard mentioned, is third down. 3 yards to go. The ball just short of the 38. Score the Raiders 31, the Dolphins 21. 5:35 remaining in the fourth quarter. And it's picked off, deflected, and then picked off by Art Toms. We don't know who deflected, but Art Toms made the interception.
That's my man, Alex.
Well, he should have never been around the football. He should have been way back in the quarterback, and he was right on the line of scrimmage and knocked it down, Howard. Golly gee. That isn't where he's supposed to be playing.
I found it a most felicitous position at that moment.
Let's look at it again. Griese going to the air on third down. And it was Art Toms who deflected it. And then pursued the ball and came up with the interception. A super play by Art Toms.
And the man in front of Art Toms was the best center in the NFL, 62, Jim Langer, which makes it even more so.
Time now becoming a serious factor for the Dolphins. Clock moving, 5:24. There's Art Toms. He was not expected to play. They did not want to play him. Carver started, Kelvin Carver. He hurt his knee, went out, and Art Toms, with a badly pulled muscle, has played a superb football game.
Frank, by the way,
Hi, guys.
Show the fans the kind of night Griese's been having. He's 12 for 26 with 2 interceptions. Gained 141 yards through the air.
Second down and 4. Banaszak over the 45 to the 46. It'll be third down and 1. Banaszak having a nice evening. He replaced the injured Marv Hubbard. He's had 64 yards on the night. Against the Miami Dolphins, that's not bad.
Thank heavens the president is back in the national capital, having landed at the Andrews Air Force Base, and you've all just seen our cutaway to the president upon his return, and of course Harry Reisner of ABC News.
Third down. Banaszak. And twisting and turning to midfield, getting the first down, Pete Banaszak. This Saturday, ABC Sports again will bring you NCAA college football with 4 exciting regional games. North Carolina State at Michigan State, Illinois at Texas A&M, Maryland at Kentucky, and San Jose State against Stanford. Stanford, of course, with that, well, I guess you could call it a great tie against Michigan because they were really the underdogs in that one. Illinois, of course, led Missouri at the halftime before finally losing that one. Regional NCAA college football coming up Saturday, and be sure and check your local listing for the game that you will see in your area. All right at midfield. Jeff Phillips over the right side, and he just gets back to the line of scrimmage. You know, Foley moving up from his cornerback spot.
The fates of an athletic career are really so strange and twisting and often perilous. Things you don't read about, perhaps, in the eastern part of the country or even hear about. Pete Banaszak, number 40, has had a great evening here tonight. Yet 2 weeks ago, it was an open secret that Oakland was ready to trade him. Instead, they had to let Charlie Smith go, as we told you earlier. Because of Banaszak's greater versatility. Gift.
Mark Van Egan. And Mark Van Egan running well tonight. The Oakland Raiders with 7 running backs still on their roster. First down for the Oakland Raiders. Go up the East Coast. They'll meet Baltimore, while Miami will be up in New England. Here's Jeff Phillips. Fumbled the football. Miami has the ball. Clock stopped with 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So don't go away. John Andrews. John Andrews, and he is, well, I thought he was shaken up for a moment. But John Andrews came up with the football for Miami. 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's look at it again. Phillips turning the corner. Goes down, really tripping over his own man, number 63, Gene Upshaw. So Miami has the job. They have 2 minutes and 8 seconds. They need a touchdown. They need an onside kick, perhaps, and a field goal to move into a tie and sudden death. Those are possibilities, only possibilities. Kulak. Kulak down to the 45-yard line of Oakland. Here's the 2-minute warning. Raiders 31, Dolphins 21. 2 minutes remaining. We'll be back.
Eddie, you got a razor for this wall?
Very happy youngster looking on as Miami tries to get back into the football game. That's the 5th Oakland turnover. Okay. Ball at the 45-yard line. 3 timeouts remaining for Miami. Goes to Bulash, and Bulash gets maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Skip Thomas has played a fine football game at defensive cornerback for Oakland, up there to make the stop. Ball resting just short of the 43-yard line for Miami. Willie out to the left, Nat Moore to the right. Griese putting both backs out. Going to Mercury Morris. Low and behind.
But Miami is not a team to be reckoned out of anything because of this loss. They're losing this game to a powerhouse team. They're in a tough division, but they still, I think, should be favorites to win their division. Buffalo will have to beat them.
5-man secondary prevent defense by Oakland. Colsey's in there. Griese has Nat Moore wide open, and good recovery by Neil Colsey, the #1 draft pick. Neil Colsey, and what a recovery he made because Nat Moore was deep behind both Atkinson and Colsey, and that's why Colsey was the great All-American that he was at Ohio State. Watch him accelerate. Ball thrown just a little behind, but not that poorly thrown, and fine recovery by Colsey.
Please give you an exciting game.
Stabler hands off to Mark Egan. You better believe, before he handed off in the huddle, he said, hold on to it. Because Miami will be tackling the football down to 1 minute. And Miami trail 31-21 with that 1 minute remaining. They have 2 timeouts. And Banaszak gets the call again, as obviously Ken Stabler is working on the clock. Miami uses another timeout. They have 1 remaining. I played against him when he was a linebacker of the Chicago Bears.
I played against him when he was 12 years old.
George Blanda. That's Jim
Big Jim Otto now.
You know, they were tied, too, coming in. 56 seconds. Pete Banaszak gets the call, and Miami kills it for the final time, their last timeout. Miami travels to New England. We, of course, will be in Denver for the Denver Broncos, the Green Bay Packers. And, oh, it was close. Freddie Solomon. And 7 Raiders were downfield under that high towering kick of Ray Guy. So Miami will take over. They have no timeouts remaining. There are 42 seconds remaining in the game. They have never been closer than 10 points. Will put the ball in the air. Looking over the middle for Moore, and he holds on. He's down to the 22-yard line. Miami hustling up to the line of scrimmage, and watch the Raiders. They'll take their time. In fact, they'll just saunter back there. And now the referee will stop the clock. Referee Jim Tunney says, come on, Raiders, you're taking a little bit too much time. Miami, of course, has no more timeouts. Now they'll start the clock. Griese will probably throw a quick square out, just unloading and killing the clock. Who has it? Nobody. Skip Thomas in a battle with Howard Twilley, or rather Jack Tatum back there. Clock counting down to 13 seconds on that play. And it was ruled an interception. Jack Tatum. Yep.
Oakland ends its jinx. 5 straight losses on opening night or day, as it were. Road games. And Miami loses a game in the Orange Bowl.
4th interception tonight of Bob Griese.
Al Davis is superstitious, too, because he talked to Frank and I before the game, and he was moaning and groaning about his team not being 100%, a lot of injuries, and I think he was trying to tell us that he might lose tonight.
Yeah, but to the miracle of Shula as Frank picks up with the closing play-by-play.
It will be the closing play because Miami can no longer stop the clock.
How can you lose? Zonka, kick, Warfield, Dick Anderson, Nick Bonacani. Tonight, Manny Fernandez and Bob Hines hold together. The final score, the Oakland Raiders 31, the Miami Dolphins 21. Let's move it right over to New York and to Harry Reisner for a report on the present.